So welcome everybody to this very special webinar. It's a new format that we have introduced. So it's the Connect News and Innovations, as we call it. This is an internal webinar for ERKNet members and affiliated partners, where we just would like to inform you on a regular basis, 2 or 3 times a year, what's new in ERKNet, what we are doing, what challenges we have, and where you can get engaged in the near future. And so the project managers have created a wonderful, very comprehensive program. And who's first? Anna?
Yes.
Can hear you, Anna. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'm first. Okay. So hello, everyone. Glad you guys could make it. I just wanted to give a quick update to the annual meeting coming up in May. As you can see, we already sent out our save the date. Some of you might have seen it already. And now we see the beautiful image in the background. So we are actually going to Leuven next year, 19th to the 21st of May. It's going to be another Monday to Wednesday annual meeting. We're going to be at the Irish College in Leuven. And we thought it was a wonderful opportunity to host this meeting in Leuven because it's also the 600th anniversary of the KU Leuven, as I've been told. So very excited about that. I think it'll be wonderful. Yeah, here's some more updates. You can go to the next slide. Like I said, it'll be in the Irish College. There's going to be limited hotel availability, but we've been organizing some other hotels in the surrounding areas. And we're also excited to announce that we've already picked the locations for the next 2 meetings. So 2026, we're going to be in Lyon, and 2027, in terms of the 10th anniversary of ERKNet, we're going to be back in Heidelberg. So that's all for now, but we will be updating you guys with more information soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I also would like to give you some updates about upcoming meetings. So we have organized most of the working group meetings for the autumn time. So here you can see the dates. We have already invited all of the working group members. However, if you didn't receive the invitation yet, just contact us. You can also see here, so we now, since we are 3 project managers, and now we divided the working groups. So you can also see here who is responsible for which working group. So in case you have questions or ideas to bring in the working group meeting, you can contact us as well. Next slide. And I also would like to make you aware of our ERKREC training sessions. You probably have already attended to one of them, but we are now regularly update or giving basic training sessions once per month, where either if you have questions you can attend, or if you have new members in your hospital, they can get the basic training in ERKREC. We will also organize new advanced training session. We will keep you updated when this will happen. Next slide. And now we have a new subregistry to launch here.
Hi everyone, I'm Eyal, and I'm excited to launch now the IgA nephropathy and IgA vasculitis subregistry that we've been working on for several months. And can you move to the next slide? Okay, so as you already know, in ERKNet, we have the core registry where we collect data about rare kidney diseases, and then we have the sub-registries where we collect disease-specific data, and that allows us to have better understanding on specific diseases. And now we're about to add IgA nephropathy and IgA vasculitis as one of the sub-registries. Okay. So the question is, why do we even do that for IgA nephropathy? And the main reason is the large number of patients. IgA nephropathy is the most prevalent primary chronic glomerular disease worldwide, and IgA vasculitis also known as endochronoid purpura, is the most common form of systemic vasculitis in children, with kidney involvement in about 20 to 54% of children with IgA vasculitis. When we look at the prevalence and incidence in European IgA nephropathy patients, we can see the study that was published by Willy et al. In 2023, which is based on registries from 10 European countries. And the annual incidence was found to be 0.76 per 100,000 people, and the point prevalence was 2.53 per 10,000 people. Very high. And if we look specifically, can you move to the next slide? When we look at our registry, so this is up-to-date data. We have about 26,000 patients, of which about 1/3 are glomerulopathies. 50% of them have IgA nephropathy, and about 93% have biopsy-proven IgA nephropathy, and 3.5% IgA vasculitis with kidney involvement. Move to the next. Okay, when we look at the number of documented visits we have in the registry, we can see that the majority of patients have, for IgA nephropathy, either 1 to 2 visits. And on the right side, you can see the distribution of the years since follow-up and the amount of visits. So you would expect that, for example, for 6 years of follow-up, you would have 6 visits. It's a bit lower. You can see that, for example, for 6 years, the median is 3. So we have a lot of work on together to make that number greater. And if we move to the next slide, we can see that for IgA vasculitis, the situation is a bit better. We can see that only 2% have 0 documented visits, and that overall we have more documented visits over the years. The age of distribution, the distribution of the age of diagnosis for IgA nephropathy versus IgA vasculitis is depicted here. And you can see that for IgA nephropathy, the majority of patients are diagnosed at adulthood, and the histogram has a bimodal distribution with a peak at about 10 to 15 years, and then a second year between 25 to 40 years. And for IgA vasculitis, the majority are, of course, children with a peak between 5 to 10 years of age. When we look at the countries contributing those patients, so for IgA nephropathy, the majority of patients come from Italy, France, Spain, Belgium, and Ireland. And next, please. For IgA vasculitis, we can see that the majority are from France, Spain, Italy, and Germany. So the second reason why we're establishing the subregistry now is the treatment. So far, the treatment focused on reduction of proteinuria and blood pressure control, mostly with RAS inhibitors. And even with the best treatment so far, about 30% of the patients within 20 years reached end-stage kidney disease. Now, today we have better understanding of, sorry, can you go back? We have better understanding of the disease pathology with the 4-hit theory about the exposure to a pathogen or production, actually, of mucus-associated lipid of IgA, galactose-deficient IgA as a first hit, and then a second hit with autoantibodies against the IgA, and then the formation of immune complexes which then deposit in the kidney and trigger inflammation. And can you move to the next slide? You can see the amount of ongoing trials, and this is from a recent review that was released this year for IgA nephropathy. And this is very promising, and we hope that using the registry, we would be able to monitor the effect of the new medications and the way that they affect the patients with IgA nephropathy. So can you move? And the third reason is the pathology data. You probably heard me mentioning before that we want to start collecting pathology imaging. And when we look at the registry about all the patients who have at least one biopsy, we can see that most patients are immune glomerulopathies. And when we look at immune glomerulopathies, you can see that IgA nephropathy is the #1 cause or the #1 diagnosis. And not that far behind, at the 7th place, we can see that IgA vasculitis is at the 7th place. Together, they are about 25% of all biopsied patients in our registry, which is a very substantial amount of data that we could potentially together collect. So how it's going to be done is using Omero. Omero is an open source histopathology server that we customized to work with the ERKNet patient registry with ERKReg. And the way that it works is that everything is done directly from the ERKReg, from our platform. The pathology units worldwide don't have to send actual slides. They just scan them. They upload them directly to our website via the specific interface, and then pathology units around the world can collaborate together, conduct more research together on the images, and of course, you would also have access to the slides of your patients. And I think this could be groundbreaking for IgA nephropathy, where biopsies play a very big role. Okay. So how did we get here so far? And this is thanks to our steering committee. So I want to thank Dr. Licia Ferrucci and Professor Jürgen Flügge, who worked with us to create the sub-registry. Together, we planned the data elements, and they will continue to monitor the sub-registry, of course. Can you move to the next slide? So who will be included in the sub-registry? So for IgA nephropathy, the definition is at least one clinical criterion. It is defined as an episodic Ross hematuria, persistent microhematuria, progressive kidney function impairment, and histopathology showing evidence of dominant or codominant IgA deposition and no evidence of lupus. So biopsy-proven IgA nephropathy. And for IgA vasculitis, the inclusion criteria is a bit more complicated. It's palpable purpura and then either clinical or histopathology. So for clinical, they need 2 of the following: arthritis or arthralgia, abdominal pain, or urine protein creatinine ratio greater than 0.2 gram/gram, or hematuria, or histopathology showing leukocytoclastic vasculitis with predominant IgA deposition in the kidney or skin biopsy. And kidney involvement is required. It's mandatory for all IgA vasculitis in our registry, meaning they must have either proteinuria, hematuria, or histopathological evidence of kidney involvement. And the assignment is based on the initial presentation and the data that we want to collect. So we want more background data, more basic data, specifically about the risk and comorbidities, and then the disease presentation, including the initial biopsy for IgA nephropathy. And for the visit data, we want more data whether or not a biopsy was performed, and more questions about clinical presentation, and in transplant patients about recurrence. As mentioned before, medications play a very big role in the sub-registry, so we want to collect also information about medications and extracorporeal treatment, specifically plasmapheresis. So the default interval for all patients in ERKNet is 1 year, and we've added 2 more intervals. So every 6 months is relevant for patients within the first year of diagnosis, the first visit after the initiation of a new medication, or when there is a reduction of more than 25% in eGFR, or urine protein creatinine ratio increase over 0.5 gram/gram in a period less than a year. And every 3 months, when the patient has rapidly progressive disease course, defined as GFR decline greater than 50% in a course shorter than 3 months, or the first visit after transplantation. Can you move to the next slide? So this is what I have to tell you about the new subregistry for now. I'm sure you have questions, but I'm happy to launch the IgA nephropathy and vasculitis and look forward to collaborating with all of you. And hopefully we will do amazing things with this new subregistry. And here you have my email in case you want to contact me, and if you have any more questions that I haven't addressed so far.
Thank you very much, Eyal. Are there any questions to this registry?
Dario Roccatello from Turin.
Yes, Dario.
Just a couple of questions. The first is, you missed rituximab treatment in IgA nephropathy, which proved to be almost the only non-conventional treatment that
we collect about rituximab. It wasn't here. It was just about ongoing trials now. I didn't mention all the medications, but we will collect data for.
Okay. Another question is related to the gap, to the interval between renal biopsy and medication. I mean, if you accept the inclusion of patients that have been biopsied several months before, you probably risk to treat something that is not the same as the patient actually present, because the lesions, the injuries in the IgA nephropathy can be changed over the time. So I think that I suggest to put some close interval between the histologic diagnosis showing different kind of lesions, chronic or acute, etc., and initial treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we also collect information about the initial treatment.
At least in adult, because adult.
No, okay. Yeah, we also collect information about the initial treatment. Specifically, the inclusion requires that they will have a biopsy. This was the idea.
It's not it's not simply a question of biopsy. The question is, if you have a diagnosis made with a kidney biopsy performed 10 years before, of course, any treatment you try, any treatment you attempt, does not you cannot say how have influenced chronic or acute lesions. If you give a patient steroids, you have to suppose that proteinuria is sustained by acute lesions. In my mind, but not only in my mind, giving corticosteroids just for proteinuria, don't take in any account if it's a chronic damage or acute damage, is useless and damage and also dangerous for the patients. So what I'm saying, Eyal, is I think that maybe you can establish some interval that between kidney diagnosis, biopsy problem diagnosis, and the kind of biopsy and the treatment that cannot overcome 6 months. Otherwise, you cannot be sure what kind of lesions you are really treating. Can you see what I mean?
Yes, I think this is very clear, and we are actually asking to report proteinuria data and GFR data at the time of the start of a new treatment, whenever that is. So we will have a current values at the time of initiation of a new treatment, and then 3 months later. Irrespective of when the biopsy was. Of course, we also have the date of the biopsy, so we can calculate how long that time interval was. I mean, we can only report or record and analyze what what was done. It's not an interventional study, so we, of course, we have to work with the data that we get based on the real life management of these patients. Licia.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to reply to Dario. As far as I remember, because now I haven't seen the very last release, we also collect data on therapy done even before the biopsy, and for every single point, we collect the date, of course, and the proteinuria and all the data of the treatments. So you should be able to have all the story of the patient. Of course, the children are not rebiopsied very often, but you should be able to correlate the single point, the proteinuria at the single point with the point data at that time and the therapy that has been done. So I don't think that you can miss something according to what we decided to put. And basically, the database was done following the same database used to organize the prediction tool. So the data are exactly collected in the same way.
Yeah.
So if people is inputting data, we should be able to have all the data, not just 1 point proteinuria, but to reconstruct all the story of the patient, started from the time of the biopsy and the therapy that the patient received even before the biopsy. So you should be able to have all the data.
Yeah.
Anyway, any suggestions is welcome. You should try to use the subregistry and maybe using the subregistry to point out what can be mended or changed. We appreciate that.
Given the relative complexity of the two disorders, and the complexity of entering data in the registry, I would think that it would make sense to have another session, online session, specifically dedicated to the registry, so people can ask questions that may remain open once they start using the registry. And we can optimize things and fine-tune the data entries a little bit if needed. So probably within the next 2 or 3 months, we should have a session just for the users of the IGA subregistry.
I agree, Franz. I think this is a good idea because it's not that simple to fill all the data, and even in the registry, maybe we have to speculate, for instance, in which formula used to calculate the GFR, to use, for instance, the foliage spectrum. We use the GFR calculated in different ways. So there are some things that can be improved on the way, but we have to start inputting. Otherwise, we will never realize what is working and what is not.
Actually, the system, you are asked to enter sequential creatinine data and proteinuria data, and the system calculates the recent slope of GFR and change in UPCR, and then it will give you the timing of the visits that's required according to the protocol. So it's actually quite a refined system, and we will be happy to explain that further.
I think that maybe somebody can start using the registry and give us some feedback, and when maybe we can establish a little bit of a sub-working group directly on this registry, so that we can figure out how to improve it, and I think there's space available for somebody who is interested in working also on the technical issues and to, apart from what from the registry can be derived, which is a huge amount of information, particularly now that many trials can be extended also to the under 18, because many of you working with adults are already enrolling patients for several trials for adults, but at the moment, no trial is active for under 18, and so I think this has a huge potential for extending these drugs also for children. So,
absolutely. We also, I should say that we will also be able to provide some extra compensation for data entries to this registry. We have negotiations with a few sponsors that will allow us to actually remunerate the data entries for this registry. So that is also something which is currently in the final process of being worked out, but I'm pretty optimistic that this can be provided. All right, thank you very much. So let's move on to the next point on the agenda.
Hello, yeah, I want to present you another collaboration project with the European Kidney Patient Federation, who set up a web page for IgA nephropathy patients. And so far, there is no patient organization in Europe for these patients. And that's why we wanted to support them to build up a patient website where patients can find information about the disease, about the symptoms, but also about general life aspects like diet. And another feature of this website is that they can share their stories and join a patient's community. And this website will be hosted and moderated by EKPF. The website will be available in English, Spanish, French, Italian, and German. The English website is already online. The Spanish website will be online by end of the month, and we will send you flyers with the QR code by end of the year so that you can distribute it to your patients and they can find this website. Thank you. So the next topic is the Guideline app.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tanya, and in the next few minutes, I will present you our new Guideline app on which we have worked on during the last year. And I'm very happy to tell that just yesterday we have started the beta testing phase with 40 users. And among our participants today, I can read some of these names. So thank you very much. And we hope to gain or to get constructive feedback on the functionality and the usefulness during the next 3 months. So the aim with our Guideline app is to support clinicians with easy access to the current knowledge in managing patients with rare kidney diseases by providing you up-to-date guidelines, evidence-based decision pathways, and kidney function calculators. Very important, the app will be free of charge and will be available for the entire nephrology community worldwide. Next. So on the left side, you can see the start screen of the app, and you can see already the 3 main functions we have: the guidelines, the decision pathways, and the calculators. And now I'll present you each of these functions. I present you how they can support you in your everyday clinic. So in the middle screenshot, you can see our guidelines. At launch, we have started to fill the app with our 14 ERKNet guidelines we have developed so far. This is just the beginning. Over time, we will fill the app with our other ERKNet guidelines and also the endorsed guidelines by ERKNet developed by other renal societies, just to have a very comprehensive repository of the current guideline knowledge in our app. And when you click on one of the guidelines, we have developed the structure very flexible. You have several shortcuts directly to the key recommendations, the full text, and the decision pathway if there is any link to this specific guideline. On the next screenshot or slide, you can see what happens if you click on the recommendations. So we have included all the recommendations, the key statements which are given in the publication, including the evidence level is given. And if you want to explore the guideline in more detail, you can click on the full text shortcut. Next slide, please. And we have organized this in chapters, and so you can easily read the entire publication in chapters. And we have also the references and also specific glossary terms and abbreviations included, which will pop up as a pop-up box on the bottom when you click on it. The second features is the decision pathways that guide you clinicians very intuitively through different clinical scenarios related to the diagnosis or the treatment options. And so far we have included the 7 pathways you see in the middle. And these are either transformed pathways which are already published in clinical guidance documents, or they have been developed by smaller ERKNet task forces, expert task forces. So you can see if you click on one of the pathways, we have filled some background information on it, the purpose of the pathway, and also you need to scroll more down. You can see all the relevant parameters and values you need to go through the pathway. To get to the pathway, you have to click on Access Pathway. So please click on it. Here I will just show you an example of it, the one for the assessment of patients with metabolic acidosis, which has been published by Trevigione et al. In the distal renal tubular acidosis clinical practice recommendation. Next slide, please. You can see how we have included this in our apps. So if you click on it, you will be guided very intuitively, step by step, through a menu asking you about the patient's conditions. And yeah, you go through it, and in the end, you will be helped with evaluating the patient's conditions or with the treatment options. Next slide, please. And our last tool is the kidney function calculators, which is a very helpful tool for all the nephrologists or clinicians who are working with kidney function managing. And these calculators allow to compute very intuitively important clinical kidney function tests. So far, we have 9 tubular function tests, 2 acid-base disorders test, and 2 urinary solute ratios test. And if you always click on the menu, we'll get to the calculator. And please click on it. This is just an example for the transpupillar potassium gradient. You can see all the information on it, the reference values, the interpretation of it, the formula, and you give in the values, and you immediately get the results, which will help you in evaluating the patient's diagnosis or to help you in the treatment options. And yeah, we were currently working on the programming of the eGFR calculator, which will be also a very hands-on resource for you. I think this was my last slide. I hope this was very clear. And if you also want to test the app, please let me know. I'm happy to have more beta testers and to get some feedback. I will now give you my email address in the chat, and yeah, you can text me.
Thank you very much. Any questions to Tanya? If not, then we move on to the next. Oh, JARDIN has a question.
Tanya, congratulations. That's really an amazing application, and I think we will all enjoy it. I have a question. Would be only available for the ERKNet members, or can our students and our team members also use it?
Yeah, we will make it open for everyone. So we will not restrict it to the ERKNet members.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right. Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. Let me shortly introduce myself. I'm the new project manager. I started in June this year, and I'm now a proud team member of ERKNet, of the coordination office. And now I'm gonna present you our new patient app. It's still in progress, so not ready yet, but we're working on it. And this is especially for glomerulopathy patients. And we are working with different collaborating partners. As you can see, this is ourselves. We provide specific disease expertise and data. And there is Novartis, who is supporting this whole project financially and is guiding through the production process. And then we have Dawn Health, which is the app producing company and is responsible for the technical implementation. And last but not least, there's ComCure, who is responsible for patient engagement and disease-specific experience. Next one. We've got like three main aims, which are first of all empowerment of patients by providing more information and by more like easier access to information. And then second, there is an easy to navigate guidance and support through all the health system, and as well, hopefully the app is easy to navigate. That is our one of our aims as well. And last but not least, we want to monitor key symptoms of this disease and collect specific data, and as well key quality of life markers. And you can see in the next slide, the main app feature is aiming to collect disease-specific parameters, which are on one hand reported by the patient. That could be like proteinuria with a dipstick, blood pressure or body weight. And on the other hand side, there are parameters measured in the hospital that could be just put in the app by the patient, which are eGFR, C3 levels, and UPCR. And then we want to, as I said, we want to as well ask them for a quality of life markers, so how they are affected by that disease, how is the life affected, and how they suffer and mentally as well. So this is still in progress, and go back, please. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, we're still working on it, so stay tuned. We're gonna let you know when this is gonna be ready.
Questions to that?
Yeah, so this is still in an early stage of development, and we'll definitely keep you updated how this evolves. One of the ideas is here also to link data collected by the patients at home regarding their quality of life, but also the anthropometric measurements and proteinuria measurements with the data that we collect from these patients in the registry. So it would, and of course, taking into account all the requirements of data privacy, it would allow us to link such patient-derived measurements to the clinical measurements that we have in the registry. And that, of course, would be a major progress. This is made for the glomerulopathy patients, but it could also be extended to other disease groups in the future. JARDIN.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I missed it. Would be available in several languages?
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
before starting this, would we need to have ethical approval? Or it is covered with the ethical approval of ERKNet?
No, I mean, to use this, you don't need ethical approval. I mean, it's a tool that a patient can use. If we want to use it for linking data with the registry, I think that might require a separate informed consent of the patient. That's something we are still evaluating, actually.
But Franz, if they have already consented for the registry?
Yes. And we have said that we may be collecting other data as well, in the future. then maybe it's enough to inform them, and we wouldn't need an additional informed consent. What we probably will need, though, is an approval of the ethics committees, for the construct in general, how we link data from the app to the registry. I think that is something that probably, at least in the central ethics committee, it will have to be reviewed and approved.
Just one question, Franz. Jan here from Berlin. Which quality of life measurement tool do you aim to use? Is that SF36 or some standardized?
Yeah, we are still sorting that out with the developer. They have a whole set of non-specific quality of life tools. And, there's the EQ5D, I think it's called, which is a very simple tool, just asking about 4 or 5 dimensions. But also we would like to record some symptoms of the patients that would basically be added to the existing quality of life tools. We could also ask about edema status and things like that, and report that as well. So it's relatively open, and we are sorting out what makes sense. And of course, we will have sessions with patients, asking them what is of importance to them. And so there will be input both from the physician side and from the patient side in the development. Okay, so let's move on to the next project.
Yep. I would like just to announce that the registration is open for the 5th class of our Erkucation program. So for those of you who haven't heard about it, so it's a 3-year program covering all different rare kidney diseases via webinars and e-learning cases. And it also requires that the participant or the student works at least for 2 years in the ERKNet center. So we were already quite successful in the past year. So we have already 4 classes running with more than 300 students from 65 ERKNet centers. And we offered many webinars, e-learning cases, and CME courses. And yeah, if you have new colleagues in your team, please just share this information with them. And yeah, the 2nd class is almost finished. So until the end of this year, they have time to fulfill all of the requirements. I will also put the link in the chat. Yeah, if you have questions, just ask. If not, we can move on. It's me again. So I also would like to give you an update of the first call for our research exchange program. As you might remember, there was the EJPRD research fellowship in the previous years running, and now we did our own ERKNet version. Here we divided this program into phases. The first phase was that we were asking senior experts to submit proposals for research projects focusing on ERKREC data analysis or other rare kidney disease projects. And we received 11 projects, and they were reviewed by different senior experts, and 5 of them were chosen for funding. Next. And here is the overview of the projects which are currently selected for this program. And you can see that we cover various working groups. So there are different thematic areas which will now be further investigated. Next slide. Yes, and you can also click one more. We also received to these projects 11 applications. They were reviewed by the various project mentors of the projects, and the names you can see here are the fellows, the research fellows which were chosen. We congratulate all of them, and yeah, in the next 6 to 9 months, they will now work for 10 weeks on the projects in the different locations. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, and this is the summary. So you can see here in this table the 5 different projects, and also when they are now when the visitors or the exchange fellows will go to the different places. And you can see we could cover many European countries, and also involve various HCPs from our network. The one more, yeah, the next call back. Yeah, the next call will be open from September to December next year. So we will again ask the senior experts to provide new projects, and after that we will look for new research candidates. Yeah, so if you have any questions regarding this program, you can ask now. There's a question. Johanna.
Yeah, that's regarding the other the app. Mm-hmm. Yes, of course, Johanna. We are actually looking out for testers as soon as the first version becomes ready, and even before that, we will have focus groups, and you will be more than welcome to join this. Okay.
If there are no further questions, we go to the next exchange program.
Yeah. So it's me again, and this one is the new clinical exchange program, which is a bit similar to the one Stephanie just presented. It's just a bit a different aim. So it's especially for young healthcare professionals, and the scope is that they are going to ERKNet centers, host centers within Europe, and they learn more about rare kidney diseases. They can see different treatments, and hands-on treatments, diagnosis, all sorts of things, but we don't know how to. We have no experiences yet, so we still have to wait for the first ones who the first applicants. So the first application call was in July this year, and we have received 11 applications, and of those 11 applications we have chosen 5, and those 5 will be conducted in the next 6 months, I think. So the first one will be in Heidelberg. One young doctor is from Italy, will visit us in Heidelberg and will stay for 3 weeks here. And we like to give them an opportunity to learn more about those rare kidney diseases, and give them opportunities to have like more work experiences in the early stages of training. You can click, yeah. So at the moment, these are our host centers. We can offer the applicants. So we're really hoping to get more host centers to participate, and you all welcome to send us an email to provide your host center as for applicants to stay there. Next one. And as I said, we have chosen 5 applicants who are going to visit different ERKNet centers. So in November, it will be Heidelberg, and in January, someone from Romania will go to Barcelona, and so on. So we have mostly received applications from doctors, so nephrologists in either pediatric or adult units, and they can stay actually between 1 and 3 weeks, and most of them want to stay for 3 weeks, which is fine. And I think this time is as well good to get experience. Yeah, so this is at the moment the first call overview. Yeah, next one. And these are again the host centers. So as you can see, we have different host centers from different EU countries.
Maybe you can mention the next call.
Yeah, the next call will be next year in January, February. So stay tuned. Have you got any questions so far?
Thank you, Vanessa. What's next? Oh.
Hey everyone, I'm also the newest addition to the ERKNet team. My name is Johannes Tapp. Saw some names, I had some email exchanges in. Well, I'm gonna talk to you about our little ErkyGPT. I'm sure you're all familiar with the JARDIN app. So it's basically that, just for rare kidney disease. Next slide, please. So what is ErkyGPT? It's an AI-powered chatbot that offers guided experience through the ERKNet approved expert data. And it's for patients and for professionals. It's used to and covers of various kidney diseases, clinical guidelines, and also expert insights that provide reliable information and support. Next one, please. Yeah, it provides tailored content, like I said, the kidney disease. We also have the ERKNet informational brochures and also some expert submitted publications. You have some examples of diseases it's covering in detail right now. We're still on the process of completing some of the information. It also includes multiple guidelines and also personalized answers, so that the patient and also the professionals have trusted insights. And also Erky can help you to find the right specialist given your disease. Next, please. About the support and accessibility, it has multilingual support right now. We have various European languages. It gives you custom answers. They're specifically tailored to either patient, caregivers, or professionals. And right now we are in the beta testing phase. We've received some feedback. If some of the people that gave us feedback are here, thank you very much. Here you can see like a little resume of the general impressions. The responses were generally accurate, but there have been some lack in detail in certain medical areas. Also, we have a limiting question count and some key issues in our inaccuracies on disease-specific details and inheritance patterns, and also some associated symptoms. Erky also had some challenges recommending appropriate patient resources and specialists, and there are also some gaps in rare genetic factors and uncommon conditions. Positive aspects we have is, well, it's effective for patient education. He's very good at simplifying complex conditions, also at addressing non-medical queries, and also the patient guidance. Some recommendations we got from our testers are add question-answer history for better follow-up, something you can already see like in JARDIN. Expanded detailed explanations for professionals, and improve the recommendations for support groups and specialist referrals. Some of these points have already been addressed. We've tried to correct everything we got from the feedback. but we're still developing everything. We're still in the beta testing phase. So next slide, please. I would invite you all, if you have a little time, to beta test Erky. And also what would be amazing is to get any information on documents to feed him. So if you have medical articles, studies, any information on rare kidney disease that you know is good to include, we would appreciate if you could send it to us. And also, if you'd like to try, we can send you a link with logins so that you can just, well, try him. And you can do this by scanning this QR code. You can write me an email and or send me your email via the chat. You have the data in the chat. I already sent it. And, well, you can scan this QR code. And, well, any questions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. So to make this tool better than ChatGPT, which screens the entire internet for information, we have to feed the system with original contents or knowledge contents for our rare kidney diseases as much as possible. So whatever information you feel should be valid and suitable for the system, you should send it to us. Any kind of PDF files, Word files, whatever you have, we can use and include in the system. And so the model can learn more and more from more information and provide more valid answers to any questions that patients in the future will ask to the system. So that's the idea, and we're really depending on your input and your help for that system. So if you have your favorite disease and have some information that is useful for patients potentially, and then just send it to us and we will include it. The system works quite well already, remarkably well actually, but still many patients come up with very particular questions that the system is unable to answer. And unlike the ChatGPT, the system says, sorry, I do not have an answer for you because I don't know. But of course, we would like to minimize the knowledge gaps of the system. So yeah, whatever you would like to provide, we can use it. We already included the big pediatric kidney disease textbook, for instance. So that's one major resource of knowledge for this system. But we can, of course, use more also for adult rare kidney diseases.
There's one hand from Carsten.
Thank you for this this beta test. I think it's an amazing tool for patients, and it will help a lot of patients in the future. So something that I could recommend is that patients may be searching for information about patient organizations and peer-to-peer context.
Mm-hmm.
It may be useful to input some information about the European patient organizations that they can really connect with each other.
Yeah, that's a very important point because many patients will certainly ask about, groups and associations for their disease. So here, I think we would need the input of you as ePAGs, to valorize the associations and the organizations that should be entered here. Because, it may be that there are some patient organizations that are more loose or not as competent in providing answers than others. So again, this is actually very important information that should be included here. By now, we have basically the information that's on the website for the system, but this is not enough, and we need more local and national organizations that could be listed as part of an answer of the system to queries of that kind. All right. Thank you very much. Anything? Do we have anything else on our list?
Yeah. Tina, can you click one more?
Yes.
Yeah, super. I would like to give you a short update on the patient brochures. So we are also, besides Erky, who provides information, also developing comprehensive patient brochures, which you can find also online. So I just wanted to show you here in the table below for the different diseases, which languages are available in a printed version and online. And there's also QR code where you can order these brochures for your center. Especially, I mean, we will send the documents or the brochures to your center anyway, but sometimes you need other languages than your local language, and this would be nice if you could reflect this in this little survey. What is also, or would be nice if we have more translators, because now we get more and more requests for translation. So if you or one of your colleagues would like to help us in this initiative and translate the documents in different local languages, just write me an email and then we can provide you further information how the process works. And yeah, so then we can also speed up a little bit this project. Questions to this?
I think it's important to note that we actually do the translation for people to other languages using DeepL or some translation tool. But then the translated version has to be proofread by a native speaker, and that's actually what we are asking for. So you wouldn't have to translate the entire document. You just would have to read and correct the translation. These systems are getting better all the time. So now I think it's rather little work to go through the document once and just check for any errors or any idiomatic problems.
Yeah, and we will also be able to compensate the effort financially. So yeah, I think especially for younger medical experts or students, it's also an interesting activity to do. Okay, the next slide.
So next topic will be presented by one of our patient representatives, Carsten, with an initiative which is interesting for, I think, all working groups. That's why we decided to present it here. Carsten, I hand over to you.
Thank you. Together with a lot of ePAGs, we feel that there's still some psychosocial unmet needs, especially for young people with rare kidney diseases. And now I want to present you an ePAG-initiated concept of a project. So it's already some kind of a project, but still in its conceptualization phase. So in theory, if you have unmet medical needs, you can go to a physician for medical support. If you have unmet psychosocial needs, you can go to a psychologist or other types of supporters. And you can even go to experience-based support organizations or patient organizations. Okay, next slide, please. But in reality, in real life, patients who experience unmet needs, both medical as well as psychosocial needs, they will go to their physician and explain their unmet medical needs. And then it all depends on the physician whether they get transferred to another healthcare professional or they want to solve or to address the unmet need themselves, but they are often not equipped to address or adequately to address this unmet need. slide, please. So this eventually results in increased risk for unmet needs, and then especially on the psychosocial part. Yes. Patient organizations, we are experts by experience, and with experts I really mean experts. We have the capacity to really provide emotional support and understanding to other patients, to practically advise them on coping strategies, to empower them to have an advocacy role. We can provide access to various resources, bridge the gap in holistic care, support families as well as significant others, and especially we are quite easy to access by other patients. Yes. So to this end, we would like to integrate patient organizations as well as experience-based support in the standard care. And we would like to do this via a service design methodology, which is based on the design thinking principles. It's a service innovation methodology, which considers a complex constellation of services with omni-actor dynamics and interdependencies. And it's important to acknowledge that the healthcare of all patients with rare diseases is not only shaped by patients, families, and their healthcare providers, but by a variety of services, both experience-based support services, but also community and social services, and so on. Yes. And another innovative aspect of the service design methodology is that this methodology considers all front office experts, professionals, and patients as end users, which ensures that if we develop some strategies, solutions, or materials, that it also addresses the unmet needs of physicians, of psychologists, but also of patient organizations, and thereby making sure that integration of a service model is really embedded and sustainable. So our first scientific objective would be to develop a holistic service model that is tailored to the needs of all end users, including the front office, and that integrates experience-based support to address the psychosocial needs of young people. Yes. Then a second part of the concept would be to evaluate, of course, this service model, preferably via a natural experiment in which some case centers are selected with a maximal heterogeneity throughout Europe to make sure that the service model is implementable and can be extrapolated to other countries and hospitals. And then eventually to perform a process evaluation and a hybrid implementation study to make sure that there's a societal impact and a true utilization of the model. We would evaluate preferably this model based on, well, in terms of health, and then mainly defined by its modern concepts, as well as on service outcomes. Yes. So to conclude, this is an ePAG initiated project, but of course we still need some support, especially a principal investigator or project leader, preferably a junior-senior research duo with a strong focus or interest on young people, and those people should really be committed to social impact or societal impact, and be committed or dedicated, or can dedicate some time to co-develop the proposal together with the ePAG group. We are also looking for some consortium members, especially representatives of various stakeholder groups, as well as some sociologists and experts in diversity, equity, and inclusion, to make sure that we can reach all patients with a rare kidney disease. What can we offer? We offer you, or the potential principal investigators, an opportunity to pioneer a new benchmark for integrated psychosocial care with an immediate and sustainable impact on the quality of care in their own hospital as well, which is an integral principle or integral to the design thinking principles. We think that this project has a high potential for funding success, especially driven by the strong and constructive support of our group. And we provide you an opportunity to develop some synergy between research groups, dynamics, research groups and domains such as sociology, service innovation, rare diseases, and psychology. We are already in contact with some service innovation experts at Ghent University Hospital and the University of Porto in Portugal. So we mainly are looking for a principal investigator from ERKNet. Thank you. Oh, and if you want to contact us, next slide, please. Please contact one of those 4 email addresses, and we will be more than glad to welcome you in our group.
Thank you very much, Carsten. Any questions, comments? Yeah, so maybe you will think about becoming a PI for that project. It certainly has a lot of potential. It's also challenging, I would say. Yeah, if we don't try it, then we won't get anywhere. So I certainly support your proposal a lot. And yeah, maybe we can also, because not everybody could participate in this webinar, maybe we could circulate it through our mail server and announce that this is an open project now that requires help from experienced healthcare professionals and clinical researchers. So perhaps we will find somebody, a small group of people to support this. Very good. Very impressive. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, then I will go on. As I'm also responsible for the JARDIN project, which is the joint action on integration of ERNs into the national health system, I will give you a short update on this project, which has started in March this year, and it will a 3-year project funded by the European Union and the European Union member states, and it is and in this project all European member states are also represented. The main objective of this project is to produce recommendation and implementation of pilots in the main fields of action, such as patient pathways, national reference networks, and especially data management for rare disease and complex conditions. So the project is structured in 9 work packages that are mainly acting independently and are coordinated by the University of Vienna. The first 3 work packages are about coordination, dissemination, and the evaluation of the joint action. Work package 4 is about the sustainability of the JARDIN project. Work package 5 is about the national governance and quality assurance models. Work package 6 is in respect to national care pathways and ERN referral systems. Work package 7 is about national reference networks and undiagnosed diseases. Work package 8 is about data management, and work package 9, national support options for ERN healthcare providers. And as you can see, it's a very big and ambitious and large project, and we are included in 3 work packages: the work package 6, work package 8, and work package 9, which I have highlighted. Coming to work package 6, there's the goal to develop recommendations for national implementation of ERN clinical practice guidelines and create referral systems, create referral system proposals and guidelines for integrating CPMS advice. And here the key tasks to develop tools for national expertise and the access to ERNs, and also create model care pathways for rare diseases, as well as to develop recommendation and guidelines for implementation of these care pathways. So the care pathways is a structured multidisciplinary plan that guides the coordination and delivery of care as the patient referrals and monitoring the therapy for a specific group of patients. And it consists of the repository of evidence of existing guidelines, a baseline pathway of existing clinical practice, and as well as a patient perspective. And this care pathway should be adoptable to all European member states. So a very recent development within ERKNet is that we have planned also to propose to develop a model care pathway for ADPKD as pilot. And we are very happy that Olivier de Wust has agreed to chair this initiative. And Tanya and me will do the project management as co-work, as Tanya is very experienced already in this with the guidelines. And I think as I'm quite new, I can learn a lot from her here, and also will do the aside from the shudder aspect. And the next work package is the work package 8, which is about the data management, where we are co-leading some tasks. And here the goal is to develop the recommendations to ensure interoperability of data structures at member state, local, regional, national level, and ERN level. And the key task here is to identify first the barriers and existing solutions for rare disease data sharing. Further, to improve the data interoperability and semantic accuracy, develop solutions to integrate national health system within ERN data, and test and implement solution in agile mode. And also another task is to visualize the RD expert centers within the ERN and the national reference networks. And here we are mainly involved into identifying, in the first task, to identify barriers and existing solutions. And therefore we were doing a survey where we covered different topics within data sharing within the hospitals and the ERNs, and the topics were the capture of the patient data, like the first capture of the patient data, like electronic health records, but also the data flow in the centers, the registries, the data sharing, and the principle of data fairness. And we were asking these topics from different perspectives. So we asked the HCP unit leads, but also we asked the IT departments in the hospitals, the national authorities, and we also sent the survey to the ERN registry managers, so to really cover all different perspectives of data sharing. And here I also would like to take the opportunity to thank you for your contribution. And as you can see, like we like ERKNet is representing 30 ERKNet centers responded to this survey, and I think this is already really good. And we had a really high respondence in the survey, and we are really happy to this success of this project. And I'm happy to give you more insight into the details of the survey, since this was closed, the survey like 2 or 1 week ago, and I would like to give you more insights on this at the annual meeting next year. I think that we will have more data available. And the third work package we are involved is the work package 9, which is on national support options for ERN healthcare providers. And here the goal is to develop recommendations to improve support to ERN centers. And the tasks are to analyze good practices and mechanisms, to provide support to ERN hosting healthcare providers, also to develop recommendations for national and hospital support, and also to develop recommendations for CPMS service and reimbursement models. And also here, the first step was to do a survey. Again, thank you for participating. And we had, we also asked here different topics. We considered the working conditions within the ERN centers. We asked you about education and research, also the recognition of their unit within the hospital. We asked about funding models and quality of care. And also here we are in the good middle field of like ERKNet represented by 11 units, which is quite good. And yeah, we are also happy to share the analysis here as soon as we have them ready at the annual meeting, and keep you updated here what this initiative is bringing up. Thank you. Any questions to this?
Yeah, Valentina, I do have a question. it might be possible that you don't know the answer, but I was interested by the JARDIN project as well, so I took a look this afternoon to the different work packages, and it's all about integrating the ERNs in national healthcare systems, but I did not see a work package on the ePAGs or the ePAG initiative in JARDIN. So I was wondering why the ePAG initiative was not included as a work package in JARDIN, because I think that it could be very relevant to integrate the ePAGs more in the national healthcare systems.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, this joint action was developed by the European Union together with the member states, and they want to serve the ERNs, but they did not only did they not include a lot of patients, they also did not include the ERNs themselves. So we are part of this, but we are just asked by our national government to work on this, to provide expertise from the ERN side. But the ERNs themselves are not integrated in the JARDIN project as partners. That has also caused a lot of discussions. And that's why we now try to include the ERNs as much as possible by all these surveys to make their voice heard. And also we are including ePAGs and patient representatives in the development of the model care pathways. Because that's where their voice needs to be heard as well. Because we want to develop care pathways that are suitable for patients and manageable for patients. So there, in the process of developing them, we will also get in touch with the ePAGs. So for the ADPKD disease that we have taken as an example, as the first model, we will I assume, I'm not sure how the process will work, but I'm pretty sure that we will sit down together with those ePAGs that are knowledgeable about the ADPKD field to get their input and their advice, for this development. But I agree with you; it's a little bit of a pity that we do not have a more direct impact by the ePAGs and also not by the ERN coordinators. So yeah, that's the way it was structured. It was more like top down. They want to help the ERNs. Definitely, they want the entire action is meant to strengthen the ERNs by incorporating them better in the national healthcare systems, so that the expertise which lies within the ERNs is made better available and more directly available to the national physicians and hospitals and so on. They also look at exactly in this survey that Tina showed here. They are looking in the funding issues. So, we were asking questions like, do you get extra funding for your ERN work from the hospital, from the government? How many doctors are working for rare disease patients in your particular unit? And we are doing the statistics, to find out what is the minimum equipment in terms of human resources and technical resources for the ERN centers that should be made available in all European countries. So that is what this is about. And eventually we will develop recommendations to the national governments, telling them what we feel is needed so the ERNs can work successfully. So I hope that clarifies the matter a little bit. JARDIN.
Yeah, I would like to come back to, we had this discussion already. I think would be also very interesting to have a connection of the registries, certainly for this multi-organ disease. And I speak about our group of autosomal dominant. It will be like very interesting to link our ERKNet with the ERN lever for ADPKD. And specifically now we are trying to update the KPIs. It will be nice if we can make the same one that we can compare from the two centers. And for TSC, like also in my group of autosomal dominant, they are now asking patient representative to create a registry, and it will be a pity to create a parallel registry. However, we can actually centralize with the spider things. Did you discuss this in this context?
Not yet, no. That's something that is part of the discussions in Work Package 8, but we're not at that point yet. So, but your point is really well taken. And also in the ADERA project that we are not talking about today, but maybe next time, we do have some activities to link the different ERN registries. Absolutely. Okay. So was this our last point? Yes.
Yes.
Very good. So thank you very much for staying until the end of the meeting. I hope you feel well informed about what kind of innovative activities we are now pursuing. And we will have more time to speak about all of this in the working group meetings, but then also at the annual meeting next year in Leuven. We hope that you will all come and that we will have a good exchange there.